Hi loves, welcome back to my channel and happy Halloween week. This video is a little different from what I usually do, but I thought it would be fun to celebrate this spooky season with you. So in this video, I will be doing a few Halloween outfits while reading some spooky stories you guys sent me. So if you like spooky stories and spooky outfits, let's begin. This first story was sent by Diego Armando and it begins like this. I used to live alone in a small apartment when I started working from home a couple of years ago. It was an old building, narrow hallways, frequent lights, and an elevator that made a horrible noise every time it moved. It wasn't a bad place, at least not at first, until I started noticing strange things. It began with little details. The bathroom door slightly open when I was sure I had closed it. Faint footsteps in the hallway, objects not exactly where I had left them. I told myself it was stress, or maybe I was just tired for working too much, but deep down something didn't feel right. One night I was working late, around 3 in the morning. I had my headphones on, listening to soft music, when I felt something, a vibration on the floor. Not heard, felt it. I froze, took my headphones off, and there was silence. For a moment I thought I imagined it. Then I heard it again. The unmistakable sound of someone walking barefoot inside my apartment. My heart started pumping so hard I could hear it in my ears. The sound was slow, uneven, coming from the hallway. I stood up, grabbed my phone, and turned off the kitchen lights so I could see into the darkness. The hallway was completely dark, except for the faint outline of my front door, and under it, a shadow moved. Someone was standing on the other side. I remember every second of it because it felt endless. I grabbed a knife and walked closer, holding my breath. The air felt heavy, thick, like the whole apartment was holding its breath with me. Then the doorknob started turning, slowly, carefully, once, twice. Then it stopped. I didn't move, didn't even breathe. That's when I heard it, breathing, right on the other side of the door, slow, deep, and steady, like someone pressing their face against the wood, listening. I don't know how long I stood there, a minute, maybe 10. It felt like forever. Then, without a warning, the door shook violently. One loud, heavy thud, like someone had thrown their shoulder against it. I screamed, stumbled backward. I dropped the knife and called 911. While I was talking to the operator, I heard footsteps running down the stairs. When the police arrived, they searched the whole building. Nobody was there, but they found something that made my blood run cold. The lock had been tampered with, and there were fresh tool marks on the door frame. The officer told me it looked like someone had been trying to break in, or maybe had a key copy and couldn't get it to work. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, I remembered I had a cheap doorbell camera, one of those small, low-quality ones I had installed months ago. I checked the footage, and at 2:57 a.m., the camera shows a man standing in front of my door, perfectly still. He doesn't knock. He doesn't move either. He just stands there, staring straight at the camera for almost 3 minutes. And then, right before the video cuts off, he smiles. A wide, strange smile, and covers the lens with his hands. Since that night, I double-check the logs every night. Not because I believe in ghosts, but because I know for sure there are things much worse than ghosts, and they walk among us. Whoa, that was honestly really terrifying. I don't know if this story really happened to you, but if it did happen, I really hope you're okay and that it's not something you're still dealing with. Because honestly, I have always believed that we should fear the living people more than the dead because there are too many strange and unpredictable people out there, and that's what truly gives me chills, honestly. Okay, let's go ahead to our next story. This one is from Astroflora and it goes like this. I have a story, but it's very short. I was at a restaurant with my friends right before Halloween and we were taking photos. While we were there, we noticed someone watching us. We didn't think much about it at first, but after we paid the check, we looked back at the photos and realized that the person who had been watching us was in the pictures. That seriously gave me chills. It might be short, but it's really, really creepy. Because imagine realizing later that someone who was who had been watching you is actually in your photos. That's terrifying. It honestly reminds me so much of a video I saw years ago. Back then, I used to watch a lot of horror content from a YouTuber called Dross. He's a Spanish YouTuber, and he once posted a video about a group of friends in Japan who went to a restaurant and they felt like someone was watching them. And from the moment they walked in the restaurant, they said there was like this strange smell, like something dead. And later, when they reviewed their photos and recordings, they saw a woman in the background just staring at them. And when they left the restaurant, they saw her again standing across the train tracks. And that video stayed in my mind for years because that was really, really scary. And later I found out it was apparently part of a short film or independent project, something like that. But honestly, it felt so real to me and it terrified me. I think if I watch that video nowadays, it's not as scary. But I saw that video very young and yeah, that was so scary to me. Let's go ahead and get into story number 3, which is submitted by Mabra, and it says, I was home alone when I heard footsteps. I checked the hallway, but no one was there. Then I heard footsteps behind me, and again there was nobody. A few seconds later, I heard my mom calling my name, but just as I was about to answer, I got a text. It was my mom. Okay, that was so scary. Like hearing your mom's voice when you're supposed to be alone, that's so scary. You know what's interesting in Hispanic culture? I'm not sure if it's the same in other countries, but at least where I am from, people always say that if something like that happens and you're not sure it's really the person calling you shouldn't answer. Honestly, I think they're just superstitions. I don't even know where that belief comes from, but still, just in case, maybe don't answer. Yeah, that's just something kind of similar happened to me once. When I moved into a new house, I used to dry my hair in the kitchen because most of the outlets in the rooms didn't work. And one morning, while I was doing that, I felt my mom behind me and asked me something. And I don't even remember what she asked me. When I finished, I went to her room and she was in the exact same position she had been before, like she had never moved from there at all. And that was really strange for me, and I asked her if she had gone to the kitchen to ask me something, and she said no, she hadn't left the room. And we were the only two people in the house. And to this day, I still wonder what was that. Maybe it was my imagination. I think maybe because I was drying my hair, um, the sound of the hair dryer, I don't know, maybe made me imagine some things. Okay, our next story is by L4PR And it goes like this. My bestie and I snuck into the old school auditorium. Yeah, not the smartest idea, but one of my close friends kept bugging us about a rumor. Apparently, there's a ghost eating Doritos behind the stage because every time she walked by, she heard crunching. The place smelled like old chalk and mold, and when my friend turned on their phone flashlight, we went completely quiet. There on the ground was a beat up old sheer uniform. I love to play cold and reach out to tuck it, and then a cold hand clamped around my wrist. I yelled so loud my throat hurt, ripped my arm free, and we booked it out of there. Even now, my wrist still has those fainted purple marks. I am never stepping a foot in that auditorium again. And I really hope you're not, please. Like, you're so brave for going there. I wouldn't. And oh my gosh, that ghost just wanted to enjoy their Doritos in peace. Why were you bothering them? They were just enjoying their time. I'm just kidding, but yeah, that was so scary. Alright, our next story is by the TI guy, and he says, I have a story that might not sound too scary, but for me, experiencing it definitely was. I was home alone one night, just watching TV, but I started to get a bit bored. So, like I usually do, I went onto my terrace to listen to some music. That night, I was feeling a little off, like something wasn't right. I kept changing songs, trying to distract myself, but at one point I suddenly felt like something was watching me. I tried to ignore it, but then I started seeing that looked like these dark, shadowy figures around me, kind of like the ones people describe when they talk about sleep paralysis. I don't have sleep paralysis myself, but I have seen people mention that it looks like a dark figure with glowing eyes, and that's exactly what I thought I was seeing. I tried to shake it off by listening to happier songs, but I started breathing fast and just felt like really uneasy. So I decided to go downstairs, and I was so relieved to see my parents have just gotten home. I never told anyone about this because I didn't want them to think something was wrong with me. But even now, thinking about it still gives me the chills. Oh, that's actually really creepy. There's seriously nothing worse than feeling like you're being watched, especially when you're alone. That feeling just gets under your skin, and yeah, those sleep paralysis things are terrifying. From what I've heard, when it happens, most of the times you can move or talk until it's over, which makes it even scarier. So I totally get that moment felt so real and unsettling for you. I think I would have run downstairs too because yeah, that was so scary. Okay, let's go ahead to our next and last one. This is by Silu and it says, so last year when I was 12, my best friend and I went to this little cafe. It was the week before Halloween, so the whole place had a spooky vibe. Dark decorations, creepy music, all that. It was really late, like around midnight, and there was literally no one else there. But then I noticed this weird, creepy guy standing behind a tree. At first, I tried to ignore it, thinking maybe I was just imagining things, until I realized he was actually taking photo of us. So I went outside to see what was going on, and all of a sudden he grabbed my leg and screamed so loud that my best friend saw everything. She ran over to help me and called the manager right away. And the next day, it turned out that he was actually a serial killer who was on the news. Oh my gosh, that's honestly terrifying. I can even imagine how scary that must have been for you, especially at that age. I am really glad that you and your friend are safe. That's exactly why I said at the beginning that sometimes we should fear the living more than the dead because seriously, there are people out there who are just really, really scary. Alright, this is going to be the last story for today. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching it all the way through, and if you made it to this part, please leave a little pumpkin emoji in the comments so I know you stayed until the end. And if you did, I just wanted to know that I love you so much, and I really hope you like this spooky gameplay as well. Tell me what you guys think about the outfits I did. I really love spooky outfits. And also thank you so much to everyone who sent me their stories. You helped me so much with this video. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Bye!